Today we're going to be ranking all of the gangs in Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's go straight for it. I'll go with my first one. I got the Murphy Brood as my number 7.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see how this goes. They're just kind of rednecks who are incest who live in a cave. I mean, pretty cool. Sounds like the Pine Barren people. But they just kind of exist, and they get wiped out in like one mission, and then you never pretty much see them again. And they have some possible camps throughout the game, but that's really all they do, and they don't really pose anything different. They're just like, they're just a gang who does bad things, and I'm kind of hating on them, but they're just redneck wood people. That's really it.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong by any means, but I didn't think that was the worst one in the game. I thought the worst ones had to be the Laramies.
Laramie.
Really, all they are is just kind of like rich people thugs. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's it. There's nothing really special about it. At least the
Mm.
I can't even say the damn thing. Murphy. At least the Murphy brood are like unique, and like
That's the one
they're
thing about them is that they're
yeah they're
inbred. Yeah.
they're unique. They're not just random people with guns.
Very unique that they fuck each other and their cousins. That's No, I feel you. I feel you. Hey, I have the Laramie gang at number 6. So, but the thing about this gang is that they can't be they don't exist before the epilogue. So they only exist in the epilogue. And I feel
Hmm.
like they don't that's another reason why they're so low for me is that like I feel like they're very unimportant to the game as well. They really only like take place in like the valley area and a few missions with John Marston, and like yeah, they're just like Ethan said, they're just really thugs, rich people thugs, and they don't do much. I don't know why they exist. You could just had them been any other outlaws. So
Right.
that's my number 6.
All right. My number six, I actually said the Del Lobos,
Mm.
and mainly it's just because they're not really like a big part of the story by any means.
Mm-mm.
You do a couple missions like hunting down members or something, whatever it is, but it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
They're not a huge part of the story, so it's almost kind of like, what is the point? Why do I care about them?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember the one mission where you had to hog tie the guy and take him back for a bounty, and he said, "Oh, the Delubas are gonna burn the town to the ground," all this stuff, and then nothing ever comes of it. Kind of pointless.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's kind of interesting that they're just like really not that prevalent in Red Dead Redemption 1 either. Like you think why
Mm,
not just use one of the gangs that was in, Red Dead Redemption 1 and put them there? But I think I should mention, didn't mention this. Yeah, they're my number 5. They're my next one. Del Lobos. There is a mission where they are like in Amberino with I think it was like Flacco or someone. Like you had to hunt down like different
hmm.
leaders of a gang or something, and it's a side mission. And you shoot them and kill them. I think they kind of are cool just because like they're a little bit different in terms of their nationality and background and where they kind of reside, which is in the New Austin type area and whatnot. They basically group together and they use Thieves Landing as their main base,
Right, right.
um, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think they're kind of interesting in just the way that you basically have like gangs in all these areas. Like you have a gang for like Lemoyne, and you have West Elizabeth gang and whatnot, and they're kind of the ones for like New Austin. Um,
Hmm.
so I put them a little bit higher, but yeah, they're definitely not one of the. They could have been used better.
And then, yeah. So my number five, I actually said the Murphy Brood.
Mm,
So same roundabout bottom three.
right.
Nothing too crazy about them, besides the fact they are inbred and at least they're unique. So that's the only reason that they're up there.
I will go with my next one, which is the Skinner brothers. That's my number 4. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about them. I think they're pretty unique in the way how they flay people and skin them, and they hunt animals, and they're scavengers, and they kind of live like a nomadic lifestyle. I think that's pretty interesting. They
Hmm.
kind of just live off of the land, and they don't really care, and they just kind of torture people. They don't care about money and that whatnot. I feel like there could have been more with them because they're such an interesting gang. I like how they live like in the tall trees, West Elizabeth area. I think that's pretty interesting. Pretty that's a good place for them, I feel like. I feel like also they could have been used better. Like I feel like we could have had more missions with them.
Hmm.
There's one where like they torture Uncle for a bit, and should have seen
Right.
more with them, I feel like. That's my only complaint with them. But they're a cool concept, I was.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. So that's going to take us to my number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I said the O'Driscolls. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't really like the O'Driscolls. I mean, they're kind of just quantity over quality. Pretty much like, I guess I would say like generic. You know, that's really about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing really.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But yeah, I could definitely see that. I'll go with my number 3, the Lemoyne Raiders. I like the Lemoyne Raiders. I think their hideout in Shady Belle was pretty interesting. When you loot that towards the end of that area. I do like the Lemoyne Raiders a lot. I like how they're like, made up of like old veterans and racists and freaking anti-government people, and
Mm,
they just hate the North, and it's a cool concept, especially with where like the inspiration for Lemoyne and how it seems like it's made from like down south, like Georgia, that type area, Florida, that type area, and so I see what they're trying to do with them, and I think it's pretty interesting. I don't really have any qualms with them. I will say that I don't have anything negative to say about them. I feel like just the other gangs, of course, one of them, but the other gangs were more fleshed out in the game. They had a lot more screen time, which is why I put them above the Lemoyne Raiders. Lemoyne Raiders only appear in like chapter, I would say, 3 and 4 type beat. There was more focus on the other two gangs.
yeah, and you're absolutely totally right. I had them at number 3 as well.
Mm.
I did really like the whole aesthetic of them, like how they were like the Confederates. I thought that was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same shit you said. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really just wish that they had more.
They definitely could have had more screen time.
They definitely should have.
Yeah, definitely could have and should have, for sure, 100%. Yeah, I'll go with my number 2. It's the O'Driscolls. There's a lot with the O'Driscolls, and I love this parallel that they have with the Vanderlyn gang of, there's like this mission where I'm not even gonna say his name, but he basically compares the O'Driscolls and the Vanderlyn gang, saying they're basically one and the same because he's been in both, and
Mm-hmm.
that from the outside they look the same. And I think that's a really nice parallel to draw. And I love the final mission of Colm O'Driscoll where he realizes he's gonna die and then he dies. That's very satisfying. And the O'Driscolls, they basically are really a thorn in the side for the entire game and lead a lot of what goes wrong. I mean, they're the very first mission in the game.
Right, right.
They are kind of generic in that way. I definitely can understand that, but I think they play such a crucial and integral part of the game that I give them their flowers. That's why they were number 2 for me. But what about your number 2?
My number 2 is actually the Skinner Burrs.
Mm,
I said them because honestly, they're pretty fucking creepy. The fact that they just kind of like skin people just because, yeah, and they're like you can find the camps and stuff with the bodies flayed around.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, they are
I mean,
very nice.
I just really like it. It's just cool. It's not like they're not really like a huge part of anything, but it's just cool to see it.
Basically, a nice aesthetic and unique too. Well, that will bring us to number 1. Yeah, it's the Vanderlyn gang. I mean,
Easy.
yeah, who else could it be? I mean, we followed them the entire gang. I'm sure if it was, if it was based on the O'Driscoll gang and we were a main character in the O'Driscoll gang, then we would have said O'Driscolls or, Skinner Brothers or whoever. They get the
Mm,
most shine and everyone in the gang. So it's so easy to place them as the number 1.
yeah, easy. There is no competition.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say there's like a bad character in the Vanderlyn gang. I mean, there are some that are kind of lame, but I wouldn't say they tried at least a little bit with every character. And
Right. Yeah.
even characters that we never seen like Mac and Davy, and I think Jenny was her name. I think her name was Jenny, the one that died. They even tried to give some like notice to them that, and they weren't even really used that much. They were just
Right.
so yeah, they're definitely the number 1. But I guess that is it for us,
Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
and we'll see you guys next time.